Hurricane season officially starts today, and we're already seeing some tropical activity.
Chelsea just mentioned that. We wanted to talk to an expert about this season to get an idea of what we can expect and learn more about Hurricane Agatha that hit Mexico on Monday. WTVA's Chelsea Simmons talked to the National Hurricane Center Director Ken Graham this morning to get a better idea of what's to come.
Thank you for joining us this morning. I'm just going to start off with, we've already seen Hurricane Agatha in the Eastern Pacific. So for the Atlantic, how do you think this hurricane season is going to kind of play out for us?
Yeah, looking at this hurricane season, so much this season reminds me of last season, honestly. And, it just seems like things are ripe to have a busy season once again. And it actually matches the official NOAA forecast for 14 to 21 named storms, and could have even up to 10 hurricanes. And, a significant amount of those could be major as well. So it looks like the 2022 season is going to be busy once again.
All right. And so Hurricane Agatha did move through the Eastern Pacific over Mexico, weakening, and is actually moving towards and bringing some rainfall through southern Florida soon to be in the next coming days. So since you're in Miami, kind of what are some of the things that y'all do or people around there do to prepare for storms that move in your direction?
Yeah, the first thing is just being ready. What a reminder early in the season, just to be ready for this. But the other reminder is, looking at this system and some of the impacts that could take place in Florida and also down at to Cuba. We actually do the forecast for 28 countries. So the Hurricane Center here, we have a huge area of responsibility, but it's about the impacts. So you look at a storm like what this could be, really the rainfall looks like one of the bigger threats. And back behind me right here, we're actually looking at that forecast and trying to determine what that storm could do for us. So we're going to be watching it really closely, but whether it's a name or not a name, if it's a whole significant amount of rain, it's still a big impact.
All right. And for other storms that it's not just the rainfall, maybe some of the winds, what do preparations kind of look like in southern Florida?
Yeah, it's all about where you live. It's really interesting because if you're right on the coast, I mean, you start to really look at, will there be any surge, not necessarily with this system, but any system through the season. If it's going to be a storm surge, those are the areas that you have to pay attention to for the evacuation zones. If you're inland, you have to look at, are you a low-lying area or one of those areas that traditionally flood, and you got to prepare for that. But the preparation is just having supplies. It's having everything you need from medicine to food and water, because it's not just about getting through the storm. It truly is. Afterwards is no fun. And you have to have at least the first 72 is unused, an old saying. And I think it's important because you have to have everything that you need for about a week or so, because it's going to be tough to get resources after big storms. This one is not expected to be that, but we're preparing for the whole season.
Okay. And changing a little bit of a topic, I know you got your master's from Mississippi State, and you actually used to work at the National Weather Service down in New Orleans, which does cover some Mississippi counties. So a little bit of a connection there. How was your time forecasting for Mississippi and kind of seeing some of the destruction of some of the storms that you saw in your time?
Yeah, it's a huge influence on my career working in Mississippi, because I mean, you see the intense storms, and it's year round. It's not just the tropical systems, but it's the tornadoes, it's the flood, it's the winter weather. It's such an impact. And I think, living there, just being able to experience all of those has really impacted my career. And it is about preparedness. I think about, I actually lived in Slidell for about 15 years of my life and spent lots of time in Mississippi, going to Mississippi State as well. But, I think it's all about preparedness. Living there, just experience so many different types of weather that it really hits home that you have to be ready for anything. And that's why we prepare early. You got to be ready at all times.
All right. Well, I think that's all my questions. I mean, thank you so much for joining us this early in the morning.
You bet. Anytime. Thank you.